Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Before I started my SmackDown review, I want to get one thing straight because there was a commenter that was pretty vocal. Give me a big ass paragraph for her comments on my recent video. If you don't know the reason for this, please watch it. Her comment is still there. I'm not gonna get rid of it. It's her opinion. She has the right to say what's on her mind, and if she's a fan of Nia Jax, yeah. So she has a right to say her opinion or his. I don't know who this is. I saw on the channel it's like 8 subscribers and really dumb bullcrap for a child on the smaller demographic. And hey, Nia Jax shows impact to anybody else, just not me. Just on her demographic. And if you don't watch her on TV, I gave my opinion other than she's fat and she uh fucking disrespectful to the business. There's been people with quadricep tearings and people who suffered a bit worse. Other than that, I expect people like that to be more, you know, more humble to the aspect of that. And this person gave more, very little, statements that convince me that I have to like Nia Jax because of the shortcomings. No, I don't. Already, there's many other people in the world that have distributing opinions on Nia Jax being injured in the ring, like causing injuries in the ring, having a lot of backstage, disagreements. How Zia doesn't seem like she's getting that, liked in the locker room. And I thank you for your comment and showing your opposite opinion of mine. That's what I was asking for. So, you think I try to criticize people's looks, even though for most of the time that's, the comedic part. I make fun of a lot of things. I make fun of myself for my, short channel. That's not that big, but I keep uploading. Probably because it's a hobby. If it grows, that's good for me. And good for any other person that likes watching. So thank you on that. I obviously don't go on people that are worse than Nia Jax, but she has displayed over the past few years stuff that could be injuring to a person, and shown no way of excusing herself, or at least trying to, actually show that she cares about the workers she's with. And discreetly, working over with small frame wrestlers that a majority of the female division is. Like Sasha Banks, that she worked with for a few months. Kairi Sane, that she got injured in her second match with her after the Money in the Bank qualifiers. The Becky Lynch moment. Her numerous tweets building her up to be a huge snowflake. And I'm going to say this again. I don't have respect for Nia Jax. It's rough. It's rough what she went through. And thanks for the comments for what you've been displaying. But that doesn't change my opinion. Unless she actually shows that, I don't need you convincing me in my comment section. I've been a fan since probably before you were born. And I know people who suffered worse. I know she suffered a double ACL injury, and there's people that come off looking different from that. Quadricep pulls, a back injury, an ACL tearing, plus an ankle tearing, plus somebody suffers at least several bone fractures. Nia Jax suffered from this, and you come around with these markish comments saying that she's the dominant force and that reading this, reading and becoming a real fan before you get hurt by the real Nia Jax. So I know you're marked for this. I displayed my opinion, and many other wrestlers. I don't expect this to be particular clickbait, because if it would be, my thumbnails would be a lot better. If this camera would be a lot better. But this is to display my ongoing opinions, and I've been doing this since 2018. I only got hit with one copyright strike. And that was like 2015. And over that time, I only got one warning because of false information that I rightfully got rid of that video. So, thank you for your comment. I would shout you out, but for privacy reasons, if you want, I don't have to display your name. Your comment is still on the video. But thank you for that. If you thought I was being harsh, I understand. But that was the point of the video in the first place. It's 10 reasons why she sucks. Just sucks. I already view my grievances, and the majority of them are factual to the negativity of the fans that I've already been seeing here for the past few years. I don't have to prove I'm a fan from you of kissing someone's ass. I display more critiques over her wrestling ability, her promo ability, her likability, her behavior on social media. Her looks have never changed since 2017, and still no people try to actually watch her. Although Vince only does it because of the good side of generational talent reasons, so he can, still feel like he's getting raw talent. Even though he hasn't gotten much homegrown talent since you could recall Randy Orton. So, yeah, sure. Fine. I'm not a real fan. I do critiques every week just so I can call people like Otis fat. Wow. Tamina fat. The Big Show fat. Well, he got fat abs. I don't know if I can call him that. There's many other people that got it way worse than Nia Jax. And she continues to show how much of a risque worker you are. And now you're here feeling like I'm a bully. I talk about her weight. It's so retarded. I shouldn't be rambling this much in the review. But I know how agitating this is for myself, let alone everybody else that thinks that we're cyberbullying. I want to think I'm cyberbullying on one grown woman that has the right to speak for herself for all this crap. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. And if you're a fan of Nia Jax, that's perfectly fine. Just know you got what you come for when you watch my damn video. So, thank you on that. Back on the review. Jesus Christ. People all that retarded. We, of course, had the generic promo involving the Money in the Bank briefcase, of course, being held up in the WWE headquarters of Connecticut. Coming over with Daniel Bryan's generic, I'm going to cash the briefcase. Sorry, would you like when I'm going to cash a briefcase and become, yet again, Universal Champion. Or WWE Champion. I think it's still the double option, because both Raw and SmackDown superstars are competing. And it's going to be coming in unison with the women. So I don't know how they can bump up that much, involving two different divisions and two different prizes. It's either going to be in a completely different setting, or it's going to be in the same place but different rings. I don't get it. It is a completely dumb thing. It's a unique thing, I'll give it that. And then Baron Corbin hit the ring. Baron Corbin hits the ring, interjecting over the promo, with Daniel Bryan, of course, scoffing at he messed up by cashing in at the Money in the Bank briefcase back in 2017. Corbin didn't even have a comeback that he got interrupted by Cena or anything. And then we could have had any passionate promo because, Corbin has the most generic universe mode promo mini game BS in the freaking business. The poor guy can't do a promo to save his life. And his basics of a match is just him punching, punching, punching. He'll do the deep six. He'll do that running crap that he just goes under the apron. That's the most basic thing, is a heel tactic of you bait your opponent in so you can stomp him on the floor when he comes last to the ring. And he just does a clothesline on it like he's that fast. And over time of me watching, they went into a match. And it went into Daniel Bryan doing, Kimura, handlebar, and then it came in handlebar submission hold, something that involved the Kimura, running dropkick, a deep six, a lariat that got canceled for something, a tope that looks like I think he probably hit his face on the barricade. The match was as generic as it could get. You couldn't even get a multi-man, like a six-man involving probably the new team in town in the Forgotten Sons, so we can get more screen time off them. They did have a match later on in the night, but it was just like, oh boy, you couldn't even show more conflict involving the three competitors. It was just Daniel Bryan and Baron Corbin. Nobody wanted to know where the other guy was. And we did have more information over what they were doing for the replacement for Apollo Crews after he messed up his injury, stupidly doing a moonsault from the apron after trying to show off after his United States Championship, and how much I really rant on people WWE lacking up to build up their lower mid card with guys that they don't have for years doing something that important as that. That's why Humberto Correa has very, very much time to actually get used to the fans, other than he flips. And that's why they just go for the most indie-rific style. They try to keep it eye-catching until we have to know, what's the real reason why we should get behind these people other than they do flips and they come from the indies? Yet, we lose Rusev, even though we've given as much tries to him being on TV as it is. Came into Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, coming in out of nowhere, interfering in the match as soon as the referee's back was turned. It went into a Kinshasa, and then it went into an end of days. Corbin picks up the win via interference. Even though what happened to Sami Zayn still, so they can just lie to anything because they're still involved with Daniel Bryan, even though they have no reason to, other than he was feuding with Shinsuke for Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. And it's so dumb, too, because, Braun doesn't want to get involved, even though he's been dealing with these guys, and they're still together, technically, for the past, 4 to 5 months. So I don't get this. Nobody else wants to get involved. Just Braun Strowman forgets about that and just hits to Bray Wyatt, thinks he's Universal Champion. And Bray Wyatt's still a pseudo-main eventer, because, his gimmick hasn't been over since October, for obvious reasons, if you guys haven't watched the pay-per-view. And, probably that you lost to Goldberg in under 10 minutes when Goldberg got squashed by Braun Strowman. And Goldberg didn't want to give away the belt to Braun Strowman for particular reasons that even I could understand. But wow, it's not the best. It's not the best year to be the WWE at this case. That they had to give borderline pay cuts and getting rid of no, not pay cuts, just trimming fat middle of the spring for particular reasons over the fact of the pandemic, somehow an economical standpoint, you have these guys that's been doing nothing, get fired. Even though you guys are staying in one place. All live events are shut off. There should be no reason to fire these guys, but we'll get more into that. I already did a video on that. But Corbin won, but no avail. This wasn't supposed to build up much, except technically momentum for the Money in the Bank ladder match. Even though it's not by pinfall or submission. It's literally up flattening a ladder. And climbing up, and then going in the building. We also had a little bit of a reference off Team Little Big when Alexa Bliss gifted a Nikki Cross t-shirt with her face on it. And then we went into a bit of a vignette later on in the night. Braun Strowman didn't even have a match. Or anything more involving just Bray Wyatt, just showing that he's different from just deepening his voice, even though he's still doing the same type of promos he did as the cultist gimmick with the original Bray Wyatt. And then he'll just change up to the Fiend just to make it feel more threatening. I don't know how you can feel more threatening. I feel like we can account to the amount of actual people winning to like power scaling off Dragon Ball Super. From how we think the Almighty gets stronger, there's another person that's stronger, and the person that's stronger than a deity, yet he's not a deity stronger. So it's like, oh my god, what are they doing? What are they doing? I already know it's just gonna be the same type of promo style to build up a match for Bray Wyatt. That's why I wasn't a particular fan of going up to the Firefly Funhouse match until I know how super unique it was gonna be. And then I come around and I'm about to watch a Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman match, and now how simplified it's going to be. To tell no story, because no one was that impactful into Braun Strowman facing off being with Bray Wyatt than Eric Rowan and of course Luke Harper, a guys that actually been with this guy since the start of their debut in the main roster, and they're just doing this now because Braun Strowman was part of the group, even though he was the equivalent of the Giant in the NWO. Like, he was a big dude, but he didn't have that much of a close relationship than everybody else. So, that was particularly it. We had our documentary ending going over Jeff Hardy's entire career, except the TNA stuff for obvious reasons. And under indie crap, they went over his drug issues. I'm just shocked they didn't do this as like a network special or anything, or they have a disc set and everything else involving Jeff Hardy. Like, we are not that extinguished. I think we're all knowing of Jeff Hardy's shortcomings, even though he's still one of the most liked, most respected, and one of the more watched wrestlers in the company and in wrestling history. Even though I feel like he just does this to himself for fuck all, because it's Jeff Hardy. I really dislike that about the mentality of fans, how they can still do this. I mean, there's people like that that respect the Chris Benoit. I'm not trying to say Jeff Hardy's the equivalent of Chris Benoit, but it's a completely different thing. At least there's some aspects of redeemability of Jeff Hardy. I think I went for Benoit as a different realm, because Hardy just did drugs and alcohol. Been caught up with PCP, alcohol, and cocaine. And weed, obviously, it's Jeff Hardy. And Benoit came up with a knife, a rope, knotted up, and then death around the room. I know people still respect him as a wrestler, completely think he's a great guy in the locker room, but there's shit like that will never ever get him in the Hall of Fame, other than Jeff Hardy's shortcomings. That can be redeemed with just rehab, good behavior, and just overall discipline. There's what the hell? And to those people who just think like Benoit didn't mean to do it, oh my god, you just wish he did. He just didn't do it in general. Stop it. That's just gross. Then we went into a Sheamus squash match again after that. I didn't know the point of just these squash matches. He doesn't even face off against any legitimate opponents. He doesn't. And he still wins, and he goes over these windpipe promos involving Jeff Hardy. So I guess they're still trying to milk up this feud and trying to build up heat, even though there's no fans who actually feel the heat from, and he's just bro-kicking jobbers. So you feel no threat than his first debut that he's beating up guys like Kofi Kingston, Jamie Noble. I think he beat up Jimmy Wang Yang in 2009. There's beating up guys that we don't expect. A guy from the ECW brand. Yeah, Sheamus was on ECW. He wasn't on Raw for until late 2009. And he comes around, winning up to the top tier until he caught the WWE Champion's attention, John Cena, until he won accidentally in a tables match back on TLC. And pretty much the Randy Orton feud with him, lost its course because they've been feuding for like a minute. And I know they wanted to continue the feud because of 2007 and Cena's injury, not from Kennedy, from Randy, it was from Kennedy. We had Mandy Rose against Carmella for the qualifiers for the Money in the Bank, and of course Carmella would win. I already have my disdain for Dana Brooke, so let's just have another person in there. Other than to just further in more conflict, other than the reason for Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville to continue feuding, even though I thought this would be over. And I know they're gonna just drag this out for as much as this is worth. Sorry, that's some stuff I felt. Wow. Why continue this feud? It's already that Otis got a girl. Tucker's complete afterthought. Can't believe that. And it just went into like Sonya Deville coming into the middle of the match as soon as Mandy Rose was getting control and like a headlock. And then immediately Sonya Deville stopped gathering up promos until she was a further distraction. Then Mandy Rose, even though she was in the middle of control, she just let go of the hold and made Carmella just came out of nowhere, super kicking her. I already know she does bad super kicks. Don't question it. She like holds the rope for a super kick. I don't know why, even though she wears not a lot to completely hold her back off her super kick. She doesn't wear shorts. Her wrestling tights aren't that, extinguished on her legs, so she literally has a lot of freedom. God damn it, she does a moonwalk. So yeah, I expect more of something like that. The match was as basic as it got, with Sonya Deville coming out and beating the crap out of her, tossing her up to the steel steps, getting her up to a chokehold, beating her up so we can get particularly heat. And that's hard to come by other than Michael Cole just saying, "Oh my god. You see that, Corey? You see that?" I think we all saw it. You see that, though? So heinous. That's not a best friend. That's bullying. It's a sign. It's a sign, King. It's a sign. And it just ends up with Dolph Ziggler coming out, stopping, talking, then later on talking to Sonya Deville about, that Otis is a loser. She'll beat Otis. She didn't even have like a talk with any other authority figure. They just asked her to leave, obviously because she assaulted her. But it just feels empty and without like any other conflicts for the wrestler to do other than they'll fight next week. I expect some more creativity to be shown with the stuff you've been given, other than they're just gonna wrestle next week. I just expect different type of storytelling than that. Then we had Ziggler coming around just saying, "I'm gonna do what I always do, win." We know your track record, Dolph. You don't win that often. He's like, he's going over his promos like he's always been a successful world champion dude, when the equivalent of most of your world title reigns have lasted for under like a month. He's like a 3-time world champion, and he never like ever had a successful reign. God, Dolph. And people like still give the excuse like, why isn't he a main eventer? He's a total athlete. He chose to be an average promo. He keeps getting stuck to our faces how much he's an underachiever, and he continues underachieving in the ring. That's not going to make you a successful wrestler. That doesn't make you easily sympathizable than any other wrestler, like somebody like Mick Foley, a guy that doesn't even fit the wrestling frame, but beat all that he can and became WWF champion, like in late 98, then had like 2 more reigns. You don't get over like that by showing you suck. You don't get over off just saying that you suck, and I admit it, I suck. And then he just says, "I'm gonna steal the show." Oh, Shawn Michaels, and he's like just being a Shawn Michaels wannabe. Like nobody fucks with Dolph Ziggler as a wrestler. Nobody. Whoever thinks that Ziggler's still a borderline main eventer in this case, I know damn well you don't use him on Universe Mode or anything else. Nobody cares about Dolph Ziggler. That sounds harsh, but dude, you know damn well he's been irrelevant. The last time he was particularly a world champion, in any case in mind, when he was still Money in the Bank winner. And he cashed in and won, then suffered an injury. He had many other chances when he was like top of the card for no damn reason. And of course, the main event of the show was somehow Otis and Ziggler for a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Then we had the New Day get pinned by the Forgotten Sons because heels can't fight, or baby faces. So the Lucha House Party are completely afterthought just to give a shocking win. The match was fine with Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler. Spinebuster, there was a tope, that weird spear by Big E. There was a hit off to the apron by Big E. The match was as average as it could be, especially if this is the New Day having, a non-title match. So I know, like, oh, this is obviously they pin the tag team champions, so they get a shot. I hate that thing. It's like they rarely do number one contender matches, unless it's like a multi-man match or something. Like, are they that uninspired for tag team wrestling? They already got rid of the Revolt now. The Ascension's gone. Some of Fandango and Tyler Breeze barely didn't even get the pink slip. But Hawkins and Riders, that has tenure in the company, does. So that's just weird to me. And it just ends up that terribly. For God's sakes. I already hate myself. It was a decent non-title match win. It was coming up with the saving grace being Miz and Morrison on commentary, going over the, succession of their characters. They had a good stop on commentary, stopping up Michael Cole, babbling along, and of course doing the basic heel work with Baron Corbin being a heel commentator. It was as basic as he can go, but they have decent chemistry because Miz and Morrison could work with nearly anybody if they're the right talker. Next up, we have the main event. That wasn't Strowman wrestling anybody else top of the card like Sheamus that has a win streak, or anybody else to actually show that you're somebody chasing for the Universal title, other than, oh, he has a relationship with the Fiend. I have to bring back the Black Sheep and Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. I gotta bring back my Black Sheep. Do you think that's going to get anybody to buy your damn pay-per-view? When most people were declining and watching Raw because of those segments with Bray Wyatt in the first place? And how we ended up losing those matches, so you expect me to actually succumb myself, to actually be convinced that this is something to watch. Be real with yourself. We have, of course, Otis versus Ziggler for the main event, for the qualifying match. We also had a backstage segment involving that Otis got to win, especially for her kitten. I'm sorry, this is just familiar to my little brother. It's so damn funny. Otis is so funny just because of his mannerisms and facial expressions, and the way he got kissed in the cheek by Mandy, even though they're dating now. Kayfabe, I don't really care if they date for real. It's just a storyline, so no one cares. I don't always get into personal reasons, and I don't think you should either, unless you're a super fan of them. I love Mandy, I love Otis, but it's not. I'm not always going to be a particular, interest if I gotta say if they're dating or not. That doesn't concern me as much as you think. The match was as basic as you can get. It ended up with Otis winning. Shocker. With Ziggler bringing up all these threats and going over that, people like Otis gets participation award. Ziggler, you stripped yourself of the U.S. Championship. You convinced Miz and kept whining to get another shot for the Intercontinental title, and you barely held that for a month. He's the biggest underachiever in the company. Why are we still giving him matches that people think he should be a convinced winner, and he comes around losing matches that he needs to win the most? I swear to God, I need to stop seeing Ziggler on my screen. They're still going to be doing this feud because they still think Ziggler has something to be an asset of this company. So why, and God damn, that feud with him and Kofi Kingston did not sell tickets. Ziggler does not sell tickets. I don't care if you're a fan of him or not. If you're going to be that Nia Jax fan, come on commenting me in the comment section. That's the most eyes on you than any eyes on the particular wrestler you're a fan on. And that's me being freaking honest. Because I dislike the hell out of Dolph Ziggler, and I don't know why he still gets TV time. Other than he's been doing the same moveset for the past 10 years, and nobody pops to it. Other than we had to know Alberto Del Rio was face when he was World Heavyweight Champion. Oh God. And ended off the Caterpillar. There was some interference off Sonya Deville coming in until Mandy Rose interrupted Sonya Deville. So moves into the Caterpillar. There was a drop kick. A hit off to the barricade. These guys keep whamming it down until the Caterpillar yet again was tried off, and then he got the pin off an elbow drop. It's already dumb. It's like the people's elbow with the worm. Take it as you will. It's a funny move. It ends up with Otis being the the final person to qualify for the Money in the Bank ladder match for SmackDown, next to Daniel Bryan and Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin already pinned Daniel Bryan earlier the night. And this week is to go home SmackDown for Money in the Bank, because if you didn't know, it's the 10th of May for Money in the Bank. So that's practically it. I'll give this show a 5. I'll give this like a 4. This was a 4 out of 10. Like, very little build up. We're building up for next week probably because Hardy's back in action. We're still gonna have a squash match involving Sheamus probably. They're still gonna do this weird, cringy, monotonous promo. So it's technically Bray Wyatt just showing that he's intimidating again. This time he has a different persona. And I don't feel like it's over anymore. At all. It doesn't show to be interesting. Nothing really changes, and Bray Wyatt always undersells it because he lost to a 50-something-year-old Goldberg. And the inconsistencies of his character and how he's deprived to get over, it's just the old Bray Wyatt, except he just behaves like he's in Blue's Clues. I don't get it. I don't get the gimmick. I don't know why he's still on TV. This was such an undermining SmackDown. We didn't even get much of Sasha Banks in this one. Or we just had one backstage segment involving Sasha Banks going over Team Bad, but that only lasted for a year or so. Why in the hell is she like bringing up Team Bad like it's been a group that they had for years? And yes, she went over like that. You brought me into the WWE the time when I was coming from NXT, and then just a jump from Bayley, and then she jumped in. So this was a setup from the beginning. That was practically it. I think it's a tag team match involving her and Tamina and Lacey Evans against Bayley and Sasha Banks next week. So probably all things like remain next week on SmackDown. I don't care. This match had like no reason to exist. I don't care about Tamina. I don't even know why she's still being focused at all. She has shown no reason to actually be a threat at all. If she wins the women's title, it's already going to lessen the prestige of already a less prestigious belt. Because we know the Raw Women's Championship is better. And it's not even for the workhorse. These are the dumbest things ever when Carmella won the title. Naomi was irrelevant with the championship. Like, nobody has shown to be, like, that much of a threat. The only person that were good as women's champion were set to be, like, Raw Women's Champion. Enforceable prestige for a developmental championship for some apparent reason in the NXT Women's title, and Asuka that had a too little too late reign with the for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And Becky Lynch is just not there anymore. She just doesn't show up. And then she's going to give another long-winded promo for no damn reason, even though she's not in any conflict with anything. When people thought we were still going to see a feud with her and Shayna Baszler after winning via fucking roll-up. It's not she won off the disarm or anything. She literally won via roll-up. She escaped the opponent. There was no other storytelling involved in that, but that's for another video. I don't want to drag it off because there's many other ways I can discuss about Becky Lynch and how I feel about her in her spot in the company. And you already saw videos on that. So thank you for watching. That's it for the DST show. You already got everything you've seen from here. So that's it. Subscribe, comment down below, do all that good stuff. Check out the channel. Let's see what else you missed if you have been watching SmackDown lately, or Raw, or AEW, or NXT. Oh wait, I don't do that.